Welcome to the Final Frontiers radio show, where we spotlight inspiring missionary endeavors around the globe. Stay tuned to hear how you can personally get involved helping the Lord's frontline soldiers effectively advance the gospel where it has never been preached before. In this episode, we have a phone interview with the wife of our national director in Bangalore, India. We have Don Kiser back with us, talking about his Native American lineage that helped him as a missionary in Mexico. And we have a special update highlighting the 5-year anniversary of our evangelistic tool called the PowerPack. Hello, this is Joshua Martin, and today I have a phone call all the way from Bangalore, India, in the state of Karnataka. And this is Mrs. Sujatha. She is the wife of Brother Prasad, who is there, and he's the regional director in that area. It's good to have you here today. Thanks for talking to us. How has your day gone today?
It's my pleasure, Josh. My day was very busy today.
Did you just get back from working with the Touch of Life children?
Yes, just from there to speak to you.
Yes, that's what I thought. I thought that you guys had just been there at the church. How many children do you usually feed?
It's children, more than 50 of them.
More than 50?
50.
Yes, right. That is a lot of work. How many ladies does it take to help you cooking food for them?
We have 3 to 4 in assisting me for cooking, and another to teach them the tuitions and lead them. Altogether, 5 to 6 of them.
Well, I remember when Final Frontiers sent me there. I've been able to come a couple different times, but I remember that first time just getting to see how many children it was. That was when you were in your older facility, and now you've got the bigger church building. And I think last time I was there, I got to sit down and eat with some of them. That was fun.
Yeah. This is exams time. So usually once the exams are finished, they go to their native places. So once we begin the school academic year, nearly 70 to 80 will come. So once they finish the exams, they'll go to their native place. So now it's an holiday time. So we have reduced to 50.
Well, that's a good work, and that brings a lot of children in that you're able to teach Bible stories to and give them the gospel. It's such a good program. I've seen it.
Yes,
I've seen it work.
Yes, we enjoy doing that.
Do you have any stories of Touch of Life children there where their lives have turned around or they've joined the church? Any special stories?
Yeah, a small girl, she was coming to the project, the Touch of Life. She was very depressed when coming. She never used to speak to anyone. So we were just observing her for quite a time, and then we spoke to her about what's happening in her life and everything. Then she shared that her father was a drunkard and her mother was being abused by all the father and also other relatives. So we spoke to her, encouraged her. Later, she brought her mother to the church. So now they both are coming to the church. Now I see a happy face in her. So she's very happy now.
Sure.
It's one of the kind of testimony.
Yeah, I'm sure that you could tell all kinds of stories about that. That's wonderful to hear.
Yes, there's many, many more.
Well, I know that you are a great blessing to Brother Prasad there, and you're raising your children, you're working hard in the ministry, helping him, all of the things that you do. But then you've got this clinic that he took me to, and so during the day you've got this, you call it the Sunshine Clinic, and it has your name up there, Dr. Sujatha, I saw, and I got to see some of the people coming in, and you're helping them out. And your husband was telling me that it's a lot more expensive for people sometimes to come, up to 3,200 rupees just to travel to a hospital, and yet you do this for the preachers that we support there, for their children. So he said, what is it, sometimes 2 to 3 preachers you might see every day?
Yes, like my husband, he arranges some meeting once in 3 months, and the pastors come there and take their support, and they come to know that I have a clinic. So they come back with their wife and family, and sometimes they bring their believers too, who are very poor, who cannot afford to go to any hospitals. They come to me, and I take care of them, free of charge, free consultation.
Yes.
But the one thing is that I cannot give them some medicines, but I'll just advise them. Whatever I give, I can help them. I'll help them out.
Right. So you get to help brand new Christians, and you get to help the preachers, the national church planners that are out there. They can't afford actual medical facilities or being able to even get to them. So that's a huge blessing. And so you are a trained medical professional. Tell us about that.
Yes, I've completed my degree. I hold my MBBS degree. and also have been trained to work in hospitals, big hospitals. And after that, I worked for my government. I had a government job which was very affordable. I was paid very much there, but I came to know that that was not my call. I should help my husband in the ministry. So I quit the job and started a small clinic. And here I just do it for for helping them out. So I'm a graduate. I finished my degree.
Yes.
And so especially I worked among the tuberculosis patients when I was in government. I used to take care of them, tuberculosis.
Yes,
it's
right.
very, very infectious in India. I was working for them. So they said that they didn't want to leave me, no. They said that we will pay you more. But I said, no, that's not my call. So I'm having a small clinic, Josh, and helping many people.
I know. It's God's will. God is blessing that, and He's using you so much. And I know you get to talk to lost people off the street sometimes. Do you have any stories of being able to witness to Hindus?
Yes, during a hospital visitation, I have many, many opportunities. Sometimes they just come, they're not only sick, sometimes they are so bad, with all those, they'll have the depression and all bondages, they come. So that time what I do, instead of giving the tablets, first I just speak to them, tell them about the love of God, and say, before taking this tablet, you can pray. I will pray for you. You come to the church. So I've done many such things to many people. And only few come to church, Josh. But it's my duty to tell to many. I've shared many gospels. To the people who visit my clinic, I first share the gospel.
Yes. That's an amazing witnessing tool you have there. What a blessing that is. Is there any other ways that you help in the ministry that you could talk about?
I take care of the children and also youths in the church. I just encourage my women from the church and also come for counseling. From other churches also, once in a while we gather them. So I encourage them spiritually. And also as a doctor, I gave them this awareness programs. I tell them as a woman, how should we be hygienic conditions, healthy ways of living, all sorts of things. I just like to do whatever I'm available, Josh.
Yes.
Wherever I'm available.
Yeah, you're helping with the youth, the children, you're helping with women's ministries, the pastors' women. There's so much that you're busy doing. You've got to be exhausted.
Sometimes, yes, but I like to do these things. So I don't get exhausted so fast. I enjoy doing.
Well, we want to say thank you from Final Frontiers for the big help that you are to your husband. He's got a big load, and I know you help him with that. So he has so many preachers that he's sending us information in and sending their reports back. So both of you work as a team there, and without you, he couldn't be doing all that. So you're a great blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again for everybody who is listening to me or helping us in this ministry. Without your prayer and support, we can never do anything. I just believe that. Behind my success, behind my hard work, some are praying for me very honestly. I told you, Josh, I don't get exhausted because some people are praying for me. I know your Final Frontiers and many people there are praying for us. Thank you so much, Josh, for giving me this opportunity.
Are there any prayer requests specifically that they could pray for you about?
Apart from praying for my family, I wish to help my patients, once in a while, like I can treat them free, but I'm not able to give them the medicines. But if I can have camps for 4 months once, I can go out with the people, with the villages. I can go where these passes are there. I myself can go there and help them. Like, our preachers who come here for help. So that's been my burden and prayer request. If you would pray for me, that would be more for me.
So actually go out and hold a camp, like a medical camp, where you could help them, the ones that can't come to you.
Yes, I wish to go there, because when they come, hardly 1 or 2 can come, some cannot come. But when I go to them, a doctor to them will be more helpful. Here I can see 3 to 4 people. There I can see 10 to 15 or 50 of them. So they'll be more useful.
Right.
Sometimes with the medicines, I can even go to the leprosy camps and leprosy people. So many things are there. Just pray for me.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. Thanks for that information.
Thank you. Please pray for us. India is such a place where the field is ready for the harvest, but it's very painful to work here. Just pray for us, uplift us in your prayer. And once again, I thank you for your encouragement and also the support. It just encourages us to run faster for God. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We love you guys too. God bless you.
Okay. Bye, Joshua. Thank you
Okay.
for giving me this opportunity.
If you're a Bible college student with a passion for missions, but might be unsure whether you're actually called to full-time service on the field, Final Frontiers has a month-long summer program in Honduras to give you that boost of opportunity you need to understanding the real world of missions. This summer internship provides hands-on training from real American and national missionaries, as well as a true immersion in third world ministry experience. Whether you're a student or a Bible college looking for hands-on field training, if you're interested in this opportunity, please visit us at finalfrontiers.world.
This is John Nelms, and I'm here today interviewing over the phone a friend of mine named Don Kiser. Don is a long-time missionary to Mexico. Don, how long did you actually serve there in Mexico?
42 years.
42 years. Now, believe it or not, this man had as much influence on my life for missions as anybody I know. When I was pastoring a church as a young guy, still in my 20s, I used to take my church, which was in the suburbs of L.A., down to Rosarito, Mexico, so that the people could see the work that Don Kiser was doing there in Rosarito Beach. And all I remember is that Rosarito was a very, very small place at that time, but it certainly isn't anymore.
No, it's quadrupled in the time that we were there. When we went, it was 25,000. Now it's over 100,000.
Now, the last time I saw you, which I think was a year ago maybe, or 2 years ago, whatever it was, you told me a story, which I just found incredibly interesting, that I want the people to know about. You were telling me about your lineage and how that helped you to have an inroad to ministering to the indigenous peoples of Mexico, the Indians.
Right.
Now, your name is Kiser, and that's German, and you look German, but yet you're not fully German. Tell us about that.
Okay. First of all, I have to explain to the people that what we call the indigenous, the Indian people to the Mexican and vice versa is like the African American, the Anglo-Saxon in the U.S. There's a real resentment both ways there. So missionaries are not always welcome, and I'll explain why. My dad was Blackfoot and Cherokee. He was born in 1896. He was very dark-skinned, black hair, and they were rounding him up, taking him back to the reservations. So my grandparents were afraid that he would get picked up and hauled off and they'd never find him. So out in the woods, there in the Midwest, there were what they called the renegades. So when he was a child, he was taken to the renegades and was raised there until he was 16. So I was raised almost like an Indian boy by my dad. My mother was European, but many of the things that I grew up with were very Indian culture. Well, a few years ago, I was invited to go to the Huichol tribe in the state of Nayarit in the interior of Mexico. When the old man walked out, the old pastor, my heart flipped. He looked just like my dad. And so as time went by, he said to the young missionary with me, Brother Kiser's been here before. And he said, I don't think so. Yeah, yes. And so he said, hey, I thought that, no, this is my first time. And he said, why do you think he's been here? He said, he knows all of our silent customs. And I found that when I got there with them, it was like my childhood all over, going with my dad to the Indians. I'll tell you a little bit in just a moment, but I got to throw this in. In Mexico, I had a kidney that was bursting with a cancerous tumor that I had to have out emergency in Mexico, in Rosarito. And so I had to have some blood. And it was really tough because I'd worked volunteer at Red Cross Hall. And so I went to the window to see, and around the corner people were lined up. But they kept coming and going, and finally the doctor came in and he said, well, I've found some blood that matches you. And I said, great, because still in the blood bank, they had to get it fresh. And he said, but I don't know if you're going to want it. And I said, why? And he said, well, it's some of the tribal people. So I started laughing. I said, that's all right, I got Indian blood anyway. So after that, I'd say, hey, pay attention to me, we're blood now. So, yeah, there are things that I felt sorry, John, for this young missionary. He did everything wrong. He would snap his finger. Hey, look up here. First of all, in my dad's culture and that one, you snapped your finger at animals, not at people. And when he was there, look up here, I'm not on the ground, I'm not on the ceiling. Indians don't look each other in the eye unless they don't trust them. And just there were many little things like that. The workers stood around the wall. They wouldn't make a big scene about accepting the Lord. If they wanted to be saved, they knew who to go to, and they wouldn't even look at each other. Give them the plan of salvation, pray, and hold up the finger. And at the end of service, the pastor said, well, we had 4 professions of faith. Well, the young missionary jumped there, no, you're not be afraid to testify before man. And finally, they asked the board guy not to come back. And one of the honors, John, to me was one Christmas. I was invited to spend Christmas inside of their tribe, which I thought was a great honor. But let me tell you this as my success with the indigenous, their little of stature. I learned you don't reach down to people because, I'm going to lift you up. No, that's a put down. And you don't raise your arm like, oh, I'm worse than you are. That's false humility. Just stick your hand straight out. The ground's level at the cross. And so that's why I didn't make over them like, oh, I'd like your culture, and I didn't look down on them. I was just one of them, and went in their homes, and ate their food, and held their babies, and let them run all over me, and all that kind of stuff, that you do in the ministry. But that's how. When I was about 11 or 12, my dad did the thing in their tribe. He picked me up, threw me out the river. You always, about that age, you tested a boy. You threw him in the river. If he could swim, it was worth it. If he drowned, he wouldn't amount to anything anyway. So from the time I was 6
So you drowned then?
I snuck off to the river. And so when my dad threw me in, I knew how. Also, I didn't cry. If I fell down and started crying, he would kick me till I got up and stopped crying. You don't cry, So that's how, at the time when I was being raised, I thought, man, this is tough, And then on the field, I said, thank God for that toughness. Now I understand him. I know why when I'm preaching, it'll just stare at me. I know to be careful not to make a public scene in the service. There's just a lot of things. And John, I'm sorry, but they can't teach that class in Bible college. You got to get out there among the people. My tutor later became a preacher, and he always told me this: I'm not going to teach you Spanish. I'm going to get you inside the head of the Mexican. You're going to get where you think like them, and And it was wonderful, John. It's wonderful. Don't get me talking about it. I'll be on the next plane.
Well, God bless you and Edna. I wish she was still with us, but I know she's probably up in heaven getting things ready for you. And just for those listening, Don and I have known each other now for probably since I was a young man. Don's like the great-grandfather I never had. And so we have a good joking relationship. We can get along real well together. But his wife, Edna, was just the same, precious as she could be. But after years of suffering with medical problems, she went home to be with the Lord a few years ago. And Don has stayed faithful in his service to the Lord. And though he can't live in Mexico at this time, he's still ministering in Mexico through the internet and his sermons. So I want to ask those of you who are listening to remember the name Don Kiser. Remember him in prayer. And if you'd like to know about his ministry or be on his mailing list, let us know. We'll put you in touch with him. Thanks for joining us, Don. I'm sure we'll have you again in the future.
I'm honored, John, and God bless you and just strengthen you that you can keep this thing going.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
Thanks so much.
Okay, brother.
All right.
Bye.
Your inquiries and comments are important to us. If you have questions or subject matter you would like to have addressed on this show, please visit us at finalfrontiers.world.
At Final Frontiers, AMT aspires to advance missions through technology, and their PowerPack is a device that does just that. It's a portable video projector and screen with its own battery and PA system that is lightweight and durable and can all fit in a backpack. This allows a missionary to draw in crowds with a gospel film and proclaim a message over speakers in places where there is no electricity. To help us deploy this to eager preachers around the world, visit finalfrontiers.world.
Since the Great Commission is all about going into all the world, then why do we talk about sending others rather than going ourselves, especially when there are other verses that adequately express the sending aspect? Some say Christ was speaking prophetically about the future sacking of Jerusalem. In other words, he was telling them on that day that in 30-some years, when they get scattered, to be sure to witness everywhere they go. I personally doubt that interpretation, and so did Paul, Barnabas, Silas, and many others. The truth is, Christ gave his devout Jewish followers a task that they failed to obey. Some say that the Jews needed to be dispersed before the disciples could spread out to reach them. That's just not true. They had already been dispersed for 1,000 years. In 562 BC, there were Jews living in Cochin, India, and had established a trading post there. It is believed they settled there during the reign of Solomon to traffic in teak wood, ivory, spices, and peacocks. In 700 BC, Sennacherib had taken some 200,000 into southern Turkey and northern Iraq. In 600 BC, Nebuchadnezzar took tens of thousands into Iraq and Iran. In 200 BC, they were traveling the Silk Road and training with the Han Dynasty in China. A decade before the rule of Julius Caesar, Governor Lucius Valerius Flaccus stated the Jews' population in Asia Minor numbered at least 180,000 persons. In 27 BC, there were over 8,000 Jews living in Rome, and many historians believe that was as much as 10% of the city's population. Philo, who lived at that time in Alexandria, wrote that there were more than 1 million Jews living in Egypt, which was 1/8 of the population. Those who understood that the commission of Christ deserved and required their immediate and full attention decided not to wait, but proceed as best they could, fulfilling the task and trusting God to make the best of their labors. They produced fruit that remains, of which you and I are included. The others got on board late, but better late than never applies to both them and to us. I'm John Nelms. To learn more about missions, order a copy of my book, The Great Omission, on our website at finalfrontiers.world.
Hey, this is Daniel Nelms.
And this is Michael Horn, and today we're talking about the PowerPack.
The PowerPack, and it is 5 years old this month. It's quite a big anniversary for us.
It seems pretty much yesterday since we just started off this project, and it's become so much more than we even thought it would be.
Yeah, it does seem like yesterday, but yet so much stuff has happened since we started. It's no longer simply the backpack system. We've also added new tools to the system, such as the Nano, the Pico, the Mini, etc.
Yep, they all have their own little focus. But going back to the original PowerPack, right now we have almost 40 packs deployed around the world over the last 5 years. And if we look at the statistics of what they've been doing, it's astounding. Between them, they've started at least 453
churches.
Churches, and this is the minimum that they've started. Getting reports back and getting accurate numbers can be difficult, so we don't always hear back from our different groups. So this is at least 453, but more than likely a whole lot more. And then we've seen over 174,000 salvations. And when you crunch the numbers as to how much each one of these packs cost, it comes down to a staggering 47 cents per salvation.
That's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, can you get a can of soda for that?
No, not anymore. How many people have watched screenings of the PowerPack that we know of?
We're looking at almost 520,000, so over 500,000.
Over 500,000 people. That is incredible. The whole point of this is to provide tools to our national church planners and missionaries so that they can go out and more effectively present the gospel and plant new churches.
I mean, you can support these national preachers, and they do a wonderful, amazing job, but giving them these extra tools just helps them reach so many more people. I mean, you can imagine being out in the jungle or in a remote area where they've never seen a TV, they've never heard a radio probably, and then this person arrives and they're putting up this thing, this screen, and then lights being shone onto it. It just baffles
and there's people
their
speaking
mind.
their own language, telling them about the Creator. It's incredible.
And it just draws them in. It just has an amazing effect. It just reaches into people's hearts and just grabs and captivates their attention.
Yeah, this whole project has been very, very successful, and we're glad to be able to add new products to it, such as like the Nano and the Pico that have the Jesus film on them, as well as an audio Bible in the people's language. This is something that can be used, person to person. And they're cheap enough that we can actually give them away to new converts. It has just been, the success of this whole project has been wonderful. There's always new stuff in development, some things that, we can't really talk about just yet, but there's some new stuff in the pipeline, new tools that we can use to empower missionaries and our national church planners around the world. And we're just so thankful to all of you, our donors, who have stood behind us and given to this project so that we can make this happen. Without it, without your support, we could not do any of this.
Yeah, not only have people given and prayed for this, we've even had people help volunteer. Just recently with our nanos, we needed to test
1,250 individual devices that are going to be shipped to Peru within the next couple of months. And they're going to reach the entire tribe in Peru known as the Yene, all 33 villages. And every family will have one of these devices in their own home. Each one of them has a clear gospel presentation as well as the scripture in an audio format, which is especially important when you consider that, what was the literacy rate among the Yene? I think it was 30% literate. So having things presented in a form that can be listened to is incredibly important. These guys at the local school, they unpacked each one, tested each one, put the stickers on that we need for import. They just did a phenomenal job, and they did it all in about 40 minutes, the entire thing. It was just incredible to sit and watch them do that. We've actually got a video that will be coming out, and part of that video will be documenting the process of these things being distributed. And, part of the video will be these teenagers at Thomas Jefferson sort of sharing what their thoughts were about the project and how they were also getting involved hands-on.
So, yeah, it's been amazing, everybody's help and support of this ministry, and his 5 years gone and hopefully many, many more to come. So be on the lookout for more updates and news, and please feel free to support it and help us even more.
Yeah, and you can learn more at our website at finalfrontiers.world.
You've been listening to the Final Frontiers radio show, funded by sponsors like you. Thank you so much for joining us. Through the funding of national and native preachers, we endeavor to effectively advance the gospel where it has never been preached before. If you want more information, visit www.finalfrontiers.world. That's finalfrontiers.world.